Hello! Welcome to the monthly blooms video. In this episode, we'll take a look at the African violet miniatures and semi-miniatures that are blooming this month. And I also found a standard variety that I forgot to include in the first episode, and it is blooming, so we will see it here as well. Far back here is Max Basic Black with Pearls by George MacDonald. It's a semi-miniature variety with plain green leaves and single to semi-double deep purple near black color blooms with variable white slightly ruffled edge. It is finishing blooming right now, so the white edge is not very pronounced. It's visible here and there, but not as pronounced as it was when it was cooler in the winter season. Here is a semi-miniature by Horton Spitman called Teen Bride with double very light pink blooms and plain green leaves. It's just beginning to bloom. In front of it is the first bloom of Vallarta Campanas Moradas. It's a miniature trailer by Gary Beck with single dark purple bells. I'm very excited to see it bloom. I got it from Linden Lion last year. Next to it is a miniature by Holtkamp called Aptamara Little Trio. It's blooming with much more pigmented blooms now as it is getting warmer. And it's called Little Trio because of the three color blooms, single pansy blooms with white, lilac and pale green. And mostly we see white and lilac now, and pale green was more prominent again during the cooler growing temperatures. Here is Allegro Peaches and Green, a semi-miniature by Janet Stromborg. This is the first blooming cycle, and I'm very excited about this variety. It has very unusual semi-double and double peach two-tone ruffled pansy blooms with variable olive green edge. And I got it from Violet Barn last year. Very pretty. Here is Pinky that keeps on blooming. So I think it showed almost in every monthly blooms video for miniatures. It just wants to bloom all the time. This is a vintage variety by Folkman with semi-girl leaves and semi-double and double pink blooms. Mine mostly blooms with doubles. Next to it is a brand new variety for me called BR Afina. It's a girl-leafed Russian hybrid miniature by Sergey and Natalia Burkatskia. I got it from eBay last year, and this is the first bloom, and I'm very excited about it. It blooms with creamy white semi-double and double blooms, and they're supposed to have some fantasy on them as well, which I can't see right away at this point, but hopefully it will develop over time. I did some research about the hybridizer couple because I wasn't familiar with their work, and I found out that Natalia is Svetlana Repkina's daughter. Svetlana Repkina is a very well-known Russian hybridizer whose hybrids start with the prefix RS. And Sergei is Natalia's husband, so they are a young and upcoming hybridizing couple that produce very interesting African violet hybrids. Here is Ness Crinkle Blue. Keeps on blooming as well. This is a semi-miniature by Don Ness with double dark blue stars and thin white edge and very beautiful dark green serrated leaves. So if you want a violet that will bloom all the time, Ness Crinkle Blue is your violet. Beautiful rose-like blooms. I love this variety. Here is Rob's Outer Orbit, a semi-miniature by Ralph Robinson, just beginning to bloom. I love this variety for the beautiful variegated foliage and very unusual blooms that are semi-double dark blue pansies with bright pink spots and white edge. These are very young blooms, they're just beginning to open. And here is the standard variety that I'd missed in the previous episode, so I didn't show it then. And you guys probably already know what it is. It's a Watermelon Snow by Pat Edison with double white frilled star blooms with pink eye and mosaic variegation on leaves. And this is a registered sport from Rose Bouquet. Also a very popular variety. Behind it is another exciting plant for me because this is the very first bloom on a semi-miniature trailer by Darya Glushakova called Жемчужный Восторг. It's a Russian hybrid, and I've seen different ways of translating it into English. I've seen translations Pearl Joy and Pearl Delight, and both translations sound correct. This is a leaf chimera variety, so the leaves have very interesting pattern on this plant, and I believe it's a sport from Rob's Boolaroo trailer by Ralph Robinson. It has the blooms that are similar to Rob's Boolaroo. They are semi-double light pink with blue fantasy. A beautiful leaf chimera semi-miniature trailer, Жемчужный Восторг. Here is Booman, a semi-miniature by Sydney Serrano, finishing the blooming cycle. You can see some dry spots in the blooms, and I wanted to show it to you because I wanted you to see how profusely it blooms. It's unbelievable. This variety has very beautiful shiny green foliage as well, and the blooms are semi-double and double light blue frilled pansies with white feathered top petals and variable green color, and the green shows more prominently in the winter. Next to it is a semi-miniature by David Rawlings called Kentucky Gooseberries. It's a double white star with light pink blush in the center. This variety is a very good bloomer as well, and I've shown it several times, and this time it shows more pink in the center, and I guess it has to do with the temperature warming up. Here is Irish Flirt, also shown previously as semi-miniature by Sydney Serrano, with double bright green and white frilled star blooms. And it's been blooming for several weeks now, and I think I will be removing the blooms at this point because they just keep on staying because of the green pigment, the chlorophyllum in the petals, so they look almost like fresh and they stay for a long time. Here is Rob's Cotton Ball as semi-miniature by Ralph Robinson, beginning to bloom. It has double white stick-type blooms with blue eye. Next to it is a semi-miniature by Hortense Pittman called Jolly Gold. It has white and yellow blooms, and the amount of yellow pigment shows better when the blooms mature. I like the elegant simplicity of this hybrid. Behind it is another semi-miniature by the same hybridizer, Hortense Pittman, another Jolie. This one is called Jolie Fairy, and it is blooming very profusely right now, but the blooms are kind of smaller than they are normally, so might not have enough energy to bloom with larger size blooms. I still love them. They look like miniature roses. They are double pink two-tone with green edge, and the green edge almost looks like a bronze colored edge. I like this variety. And finally, behind Jolie Fairy is another favorite of mine with rose-shaped blooms called Ness Satin Rose, and I showed it previously as well. It's a semi-miniature by Don Ness with two-tone double rose mauve star-shaped blooms. I like the glowing effect in the blooms of Ness Satin Rose because of the color pigment distribution. It's more concentrated on the edges of the petals and lighter in the center of the bloom. And these are all of my African violets that are blooming right now. We're in the month of April, and today is April 25th, 2021.